So we've reached that very special night of the year, Halloween, anciently known as Samhain. This is the time that was traditionally seen as the beginning of winter, or indeed the beginning of the dark half of the year. And of course at this time of the year the leaves are falling off the trees, the days have shortened quite dramatically, and winter is really well and truly setting in. At the moment there are bonfires still blazing outside all over the country. There are fireworks going off still to be heard outside the window here. The continuation into modern times of a celebration that, or a festivity that is certainly hundreds of years old, if not prehistoric in its origins. It's fascinating to think that it's still going on today. I'm going to read a little bit about Samhain from James Mackillop's Oxford Dictionary of Celtic Mythology. Mackillop is an excellent scholar in these matters. By abundant testimony, Samhain was the principal calendar feast of early Ireland. Each of the 5 provinces sent assemblies to Tara for a feis held every 3rd year. At Tlachtha, the lighting of the winter fires was a key part of the Samhain ceremony, and indeed that ceremony has been re-established with the lighting of the fires at Hill of Ward. Again, a modern continuation of an ancient festival. In part, Samhain ceremonies commemorated the Dagda's ritual intercourse with 3 divinities, the Morrigan, Boand and Index unnamed daughter. Just how much of this remembrance included fertility rites, or what their nature might be, is not known. But in Irish and Scottish Gaelic oral tradition, Samhain time was thought most favourable for a woman to become pregnant. At Mag Slecht in County Cavan, human sacrifices might have been offered to Crum Cruach, called the chief idol of Ireland by the early Christian scribes. Although the full nature of Crum Cruach is not known, popular writers on early Ireland have taken to calling him Samhain, implying that he gave his name to the seasonal feast. Although at least one American encyclopedia repeats this conjecture, it is unsupported by early Irish texts. Authors of early texts are careful to point out when important action takes place at Samhain. At this time, the predatory Fomorians would exact their tribute of grain, milk, and live children. Each year on this date, Alain Macmigna came to burn Tara until Fionn MacCool dispatched him. From Crochan in County Roscommon came the triple-headed monster, the same first name, Alain Trechen, who wreaked havoc on all of Ireland, especially Owen Macha and Tara, until he was eliminated by Amergin. Cuchulainn encountered otherworldly damsels at Samhain time, and this was also the time Cahir and Angus Og flew off in the form of swans. The different celebrations of Samhain over the centuries explain some of the traditions still popularly attached to Halloween. Standing between the 2 halves of the Celtic year, Samhain seemed suspended in time, when the borders between the natural and the supernatural dissolve, and the spirits from the other world might move freely into the realm of mortals. Concurrently, humans might perceive more of the realm of the dead at this time, and looked for portents of the future in games. People might choose from small cakes called barmbracks, in Irish Borin Brack, the speckled loaf, i.e. with currants or raisins, containing a ring or a nut to determine who might be married and who would live singly. And of course the barmbrack is still quite popular in parts of Ireland. In fact, growing up as a kid, we had the barmbrack every year in our house, and the idea was that if you got the slice with the ring in it, you were going to be lucky and you were going to be the one that got married. Bonfires were built in parts of Ireland and Gaelic Scotland. It was also time to relax after the most demanding farm work was done. In counties Waterford and Cork, country lads visited farmers' houses on the night before Samhain, known as Iha Sauna, collecting pence and provisions for the celebrations. In Cork, the procession of young men blowing horns and making other noises was led by someone calling himself the White Mare, wearing white robes and the configuration of a horse's head. On the Isle of Lewis in the Outer Hebrides, though the inhabitants were Protestant, people gathered ale and other provisions for a mock ceremony calling Shoney of the Sea to enrich their grounds in the coming year. Turnips were hollowed out with candles put inside. And of course I'm drawn to the story of, one of the stories about how Nouth got its name, was that it was to do with Englec, who was a daughter of Elkmar, and she was a lover of Angus, but Midger came along at Samhain when Angus was playing games with his friends, and he was nowhere to be seen. Midger came along and stole Englec away from Cnogba at Samhain time, and hence when Angus came and couldn't find her, he cast some hazelnuts on the ground and made a lament around them. Now, we're not entirely sure what this means, but Helen McKay, an American researcher, has suggested that the nuts, which are described in the Dinchenicus as the blood red nuts of the forest, are actually it's supposed to be a metaphor for the bones of the dead and the bones of the deceased, which were placed gently on the ground and a lamentation made around them. Interestingly, Nouth's alignments don't seem to feature towards Samhain sunset, and in fact I was up on top of Nouth yesterday evening, so this is the 31st of October, and of course the traditional celebration of Samhain was the halfway point in days between the autumn equinox and the winter solstice. So we're not quite at Samhain yet, maybe a week away from it, but anyway, in any case, the western passage of Nouth points to a distance, a direction slightly south of west, some distance south of west, and I think that the time when the sun would shine in to the bend in the passageway would be around October the 3rd, so after the autumn equinox but before Samhain. Anyway, with the fireworks still going on and the bonfires still blazing, it's nice to remember that the traditions of Samhain certainly are pre-Christian and possibly go all the way back into the remote past, maybe the Bronze Age or the Stone Age. So when you're celebrating Halloween, remember that Samhain was begun by your ancestors a long time ago.